A hand brushes a shelf, then a hollow sound. Dolly Bantry freezes. Her fingers press again. A panel shifts slightly. Her eyes widen. "Jane, do you hear that?" Miss Marple tilts her head. Her voice calm. "Try again, Dolly." The shelf moves further. A narrow crack shows. Dolly pulls. A door swings open. Behind it, dark space. Tight. Still. Waiting. Dolly gasps. A figure slumps against the wall. Head bent forward. Arms limp. Unmoving. Miss Marple steps closer. Her sharp eyes fix. Not asleep. Dolly's voice shakes. "Good heavens. A man." They lean in. Face pale. Lips parted. A notebook slips from his pocket. Dolly whispers. "I know that face. Crispin Vale. The writer. He came to see Skington's work last week." Miss Marple nods once, her gaze steady. Now he sits here, silent. Dolly trembles. He looks gone. Miss Marple touches his wrist. No pulse, fingers cold. She exhales softly. Yes, he is dead. Shock spreads across Dolly's face. But how? There's nothing. No blood. No weapon. He just stopped. Marple crouches lower. She notices the posture. Neck angled slightly. Clothes neat. No sign of struggle. Her words quiet, but firm. He did not fall. He did not collapse. Dolly stares confused. Then what? Miss Marple points toward the wall vent. Bars polished. Edges faintly scraped. Dolly swallows. You think? Marple shakes her head. Not yet. But this is no ordinary faint. They both look again at the lifeless form. Crispin Vale. Sharp critic. Enemy to pretenders. Dolly whispers. He made many enemies with his pen. They say he mocked Skington's restorations, laughed at them in print. Miss Marple folds her hands. A man with sharp words often meets sharp answers. Dolly bites her lip. But why hide him here? Why not leave him in the open? Marple's reply is clipped. Because here it looks like chance. A man alone in a hidden room. Heart gave out. Easy to believe. Dolly shivers. You mean it was staged? Miss Marple's eyes narrow. He walked in alive. That is certain. Her voice lowers, each word deliberate. If he walked in alive, how did he not walk out? A locked door doesn't keep death out. Inspector Slack steps inside the chamber, his hat tilted back. His eyes sweep the scene. He bends near the body. Hand hovers, then pulls back. No marks. None at all. Dolly Bantry clasps her hands, her voice shaky. He was alive yesterday. I saw him in the garden. And now like this. Slack snorts. Bodies don't lie. Something stopped him. But what? Miss Marple stays quiet. She watches him work. Slack circles the narrow space. No broken wood. No blood. No weapon in sight. Strange, he mutters. Stronger men than him fall with a blow. But here nothing touched him. He kneels by the wall. Fingers brush the iron grille. He pauses, looks closer. Someone polished these bars. Fresh. Dolly frowns. Why polish them? Who would even notice? Slack's brow tightens. People polish when they want to hide scratches, or when they don't want you to ask why the metal was used. Dolly gasps. You mean it was used in the murder? Slack doesn't answer. He keeps staring at the bars. Miss Marple speaks at last. Ventilation is for breathing, unless one turns it into something else. Slack shoots her a glance. You've got notions, Miss Marple, but we'll stick to facts. Facts only. He straightens. Look here. No signs of struggle. No overturned chair, no bruise on the face, nothing in the hands. If this was natural, why the polish? Dolly whispers. Maybe he just died here by chance. Maybe he liked secret places. Slack snaps back. People don't crawl into holes to die neat and tidy. Someone arranged this. Someone clever. Lady Bantry shifts nervously. If word gets out, Gossington Hall will be on every tongue. Reporters. Crowds. I can't bear it. Slack folds his arms. Then hope I find the truth before they do, because I will not bury this under silence. Not for anyone. He turns back to the body, eyes narrow, voice low, steady. This wasn't chance. This wasn't weakness of the heart. His hand touches the polished grille again. This room was meant to kill. Every stone was his boast. Guy Skington strides into the library. His voice carries. Magnificent, isn't it? This hall hides treasures no one dreamed of. He runs a hand along the panel. The secret chamber. Authentic. Centuries old. A marvel in design. Inspector Slack folds his arms. Marvel or murder scene? Skington stiffens. Tragedy, Inspector. Nothing more. A man of frail health caught in mystery. The place was hidden. He found it, yes, but his heart failed. Miss Marple's eyes rest on him. You believe that? Skington forces a smile. I know it. This house has secrets. I merely uncovered them. Vale was reckless. He strayed where he should not. Dolly Bantry frowns. Crispin Vale didn't just stray. He told me last week he planned to write an article. Harsh words about your work. Skington's jaw tightens. Writers invent gossip to sell pages. My restorations are sound. Every feature genuine. Slack steps closer. And yet Vale's notes speak otherwise. He claimed some fines were planted. A flicker crosses Skington's face. He adjusts his cuffs. Ridiculous. No one plants history. One only reveals it. Marple's gaze sharpens. Sometimes one reveals what one has first placed. Dolly gasps. Jane, are you saying? But Marple doesn't answer. Her eyes stay on Skington's uneasy smile. Then the twist lands. Slack pulls a slip of paper from his pocket. Vale carried this in his coat. Your name, Mr. Skington. And beside it, forgeries confirmed. Care to explain? The architect freezes. Color drains from his face. He forces a laugh. Notes. Nothing more. Vale was dramatic. He lived to provoke. He wanted scandal. Dolly whispers to Marple. But if he wrote that, then he had proof. Skington snaps. Proof? He had guesses. Lies. I told him to stop slandering my work. He wouldn't listen. Slack's eyes narrow. And now he's dead. Skington's smile flickers again. Coincidence. Nothing more. Marple leans forward, her tone quiet. Coincidence is a poor shield, Mr. Skington. Very poor indeed. Dolly clutches her shawl. Her voice trembles. Then Vale wasn't silenced by chance. She swallows hard, eyes wide. Her whisper cuts the air. Then Vale was silenced on purpose. Big lies hide in small dust. Miss Marple kneels by the wall. Her fingers glide over the grille. A faint film coats the edge. She rubs it between her thumb and finger. Soap, she murmurs. Inspector Slack frowns. Soap? In a grille? What nonsense is this? Marple doesn't answer him yet. She tests the screws. One twists with little effort. She lifts it half a turn, then stops. Too easy, she says. They were prepared to move. Slack groans. Prepared. Prepared. You see shadows where there's nothing. Dolly leans in. What would soap do, Jane? Marple answers softly. It smooths the turning. It hides wear, a sign that the screws were tampered with before. Slack shakes his head. Ridiculous. Someone cleaned. That's all. Your eyes search too far. But Marple ignores him. Her attention shifts to the shelf of old mechanism books. She runs her palm across the spines. Then she pulls one halfway. Her hand comes back sticky. Paste, she notes. Fresh, not dusted over. Dolly gasps. You mean someone used these books? Recently? Yes. Not to read. To smear and seal. Slack throws his arms in the air. Paste, soap, screws. Tiny bits of nothing. You expect me to build a charge from trifles? Marple's eyes narrow. Crimes are built on trifles. So are houses. Skington, standing near the door, clears his throat. A smear of paste means nothing. Restorations need adhesives. You'll find them everywhere. Marple fixes him with a look. True, but not on books that were once Vale's own. Skington flinches. You can't prove that. Marple's reply is calm. Not yet. But marks remember hands and knots remember fingers. Slack rubs his temple. Knots? Now you speak of knots? What next, Miss Marple? Shadows whispering secrets. She remains unshaken, her tone firm. You will find knots. You will find tape. And they will tell you more than bruises ever could. Dolly grips Marple's arm. But Jane, if he died without a mark, how can tape be part of it? Marple's gaze sharpens. That is what we must ask. Why no mark remains? Why a death leaves silence instead of struggle? She points at the grill again. At the soap. At the screws. At the paste on the books. Slack snorts. All this fuss for scraps. Marple looks at him steady. Her voice cuts like a knife. Trifles build traps. Every knot tells who tied it. Inspector Slack snaps open a tool chest. Inside, spools of linen tape. White, flat, coiled neat. He pulls one out. The end dangles, frayed. A knot tied midway. Slack studies it, then glances at Skington. You use this? Skington nods quickly. For binding joints. For bracing repairs. Common practice. Slack tightens his jaw. This knot here. Familiar? Skington shrugs. A reef knot. Anyone could tie it. Miss Marple steps closer. Her eyes linger on the knot. Her tone soft. True, but everyone ties with habit. Some pull left first, some right. This one bears your hand. Skington's face hardens. You imagine too much. Slack places the knot against another piece of tape, already tied. The patterns match. Pull, tuck, pull. Same pressure, same crease. Dolly whispers, uneasy. It looks copied from itself. Marple doesn't reply. She watches quietly, lips pressed. Slack lifts a brass ring from the bottom of the chest. Small, circular. Its edge gleams faintly. He rubs it with his thumb. Polished. Recent. Someone used this to guide tape. Skington shakes his head. You see weapons in tools. That ring belongs with curtain fastenings. Nothing sinister. Marple's eyes stay locked on his hands. She notices the nervous twitch of his thumb. The quick clench and release. Slack lowers the ring. Vale's body showed no wounds, no bruises. Yet something held him, tightened him, then vanished. Tape explains it. Skington bursts out. Speculation. Tape and rings tricks of the mind. Marple speaks at last, her voice steady. Speculation rests on air. But tape leaves fibres. Knots leave signatures. Rings leave polish. Dolly looks from the chest to the secret room door. Her face pale. Her whisper trembles. What if the tape never left the room? Motive hides in reputation. Inspector Slack leans back, his gaze fixed on Skington. Vale mocked your work. Loudly. That stings a man, doesn't it? Skington bristles. He mocked everything. He thrived on it. I ignored him. Dolly shakes her head. No, you didn't. I heard you argue last week. He called your discoveries fakes. You shouted. Skington's fists tightened. He had no right. I worked years on this house. Contracts worth thousands. He wanted to ruin me. Slack smirks. And he could. One article. One sneer. Your contracts collapse. Dolly looks at Marple. Vale bragged to me in the garden. Said he had proof. Papers, notes all ready. He was going to publish. Skington snaps. Lies. He never had proof. Just words. Slack taps his notebook. Words become proof when they match evidence. But now he's gone. He shuts the book with a snap. That proof died with him. Skington exhales hard. Exactly. So you see, there's no case. Only your suspicions. Only gossip. Marple's eyes don't leave him. Her voice quiet, but sharp. Proof rarely dies with a man. It travels in habits, in traces, in things he leaves behind. Skington laughs nervously. Habits? You'll try me in court with habits? Marple folds her hands. You would be surprised what courts accept when truth points one way. Dolly leans forward. But Jane, what if Vale truly hid notes? What if he tucked them somewhere before he... She stops. Her throat closes. Slack sighs. We searched his pockets. Nothing but a scrap of paper. We searched the room. No notebooks, no drafts, no exposé. Empty. Marple raises one eyebrow. Empty is not natural. Men who prepare evidence rarely carry nothing. Slack glares. You think he left it lying about? Where? We combed the hall. Marple looks at the shelves. At the books, sealed with paste. At the Grille, polished clean. Her voice low, deliberate. Not if it still lies in this house. Numbers never stay buried. Dolly Bantry sets a folder on the table. Her hands tremble. These are the accounts Crispin Vale showed me. He left them in my care. He said, if I vanish, look here. Inspector Slack snatches it open. He flips through pages. Columns of expenses. Dates. Names. Items purchased. He stops at one entry. Paste. Linen tape. Brass rings. Large orders. Paid by Skington. Skington steps forward sharply. Of course, restoration requires materials. That proves nothing. Marple's eyes narrow. Not in these amounts. Not when no receipts match official records. Dolly swallows. He told me your figures didn't add up. He laughed about it. Said you were building legends with glue. Slack slams the folder shut. Enough for arrest? Skington's voice rises. You can't. Those are incomplete notes. Vale forged columns to smear me. Anyone can write numbers. Marple studies the pages again. She traces a line with her finger. Look, here's the twist. These entries don't just list supplies. They list dates when Vale wasn't even in Street Mary Mead. Someone else wrote in his hand. Or someone added lines after his death. Dolly gasps. You mean the ledger itself was tampered with? Slack stiffens. Then it's planted evidence. Someone trying to frame him or protect him. Marple's voice is cool. Or both. One hand tried to expose. Another hand tried to cover. Skington seizes on it. There, you see? Fabricated. Lies upon lies. Vale set me up. But Marple tilts her head. Curious. The handwriting shifts halfway down the page. Vale began it. Someone else continued. Dolly whispers. Then two people knew. Vale, and someone close enough to finish his book of accounts. Slack frowns. Enough for arrest? Or enough for doubt? Marple answers softly. Enough for suspicion. Enough to test every figure against fact. Skington crosses his arms. Suspicion won't hold in court. Marple fixes him with a steady gaze. No, but trifles do, and these trifles add. Before Slack can respond, a sharp noise cuts through the hall, a heavy thud. Above their heads, Dolly grips Marple's sleeve, her eyes wide. Someone's upstairs. Noise in a sealed house is never random. Inspector Slack leads the way up the narrow stairs. Dolly follows, clutching the railing. Miss Marple steady behind. They reach the loft. Dust lies thin, but boxes stand open, tools scattered. Slack kneels at a crate. He pulls out a coil of linen tape, another spool beside it. Brass rings piled in a tin, a bar of soap wrapped in cloth. He grunts. Convenient. The same tools you pointed to, Miss Marple. She nods once. Tools speak louder than witnesses. Dolly's voice trembles. Then it wasn't just theory. It was real. Slack sets a ring down. His fingers smear across the metal. He pauses. Fingerprints. Fresh. He leans closer. But someone rubbed them after. Smudged on purpose. Dolly gasps. You mean he was here? In this very room? After Vale died? Slack's tone sharp. Yes. Someone came back. Collected things. Tried to wipe them. Marple scans the crate. She lifts a folded rag. Fibres cling to it. Not careful enough, she murmurs. Skington's voice echoes from the stairwell. Ridiculous. Any worker could have left those supplies. Slack snaps. And any worker would sign receipts. These weren't signed. These were hidden. Dolly pales. Her hands shake. He was here again. After the body. After everything. Marple looks at the tape. She pulls gently. A knot halfway through. Her eyes narrow. Same hand. Same pattern. Habits repeat. Slack exhales. This could hang him. Marple's reply is cool. Only if tied to motive. Tools alone do not strangle reputations. People do. Skington steps into the loft, face flushed. You search like children. Tape, rings, soap, all harmless until you weave stories. Marple fixes him with a calm gaze. Stories unravel when lies hold them together. Slack grips the crate. We'll take these into custody. They'll speak where you refuse. Skington sneers. Circumstance. Nothing more. Marple answers softly. Circumstance is the thread. Truth is the fabric. Dolly whispers. Jane, do you think he'll return again? Marple doesn't reply. Her eyes dart toward the floor below. A sound rises. Slow. Heavy. Footsteps, climbing the stairs toward them. Guilt walks heavy. The footsteps belong to Guy Skington. He halts at the top of the stairs. Eyes dart to the crate in Slack's hands. What are you doing? His voice sharp. Those are mine. My supplies. For work. Slack steps down into the hall. Work. Tape. Rings. Soap hidden in a loft. Not in the storeroom. Skington's jaw tightens. I needed them close. Restoration is constant. A man must prepare. Marple's eyes settle on him, her tone quiet. Preparation is good, but secrecy is choice. Why hide common tools? Skington snaps. Because thieves prowl. Because I trust no one. Is that a crime? Slack moves closer. Soap on screws. Explain that. Skington blinks fast. Cleaning. Rust prevention. Slack shakes his head. No. Soap leaves a film. Film makes screws slide easier. Makes grills move without effort. Skington stammers. You twist meanings. You want guilt where none exists. Marple looks at his hands. Sweat glistens. Knuckles twitch. She says softly, Truth doesn't need twisting. It sits where it belongs. Skington raises his voice. I built this hall back to life. Every discovery mine. And now you mock me with paste and knots. Slack barks. Not us. The evidence mocks you. You polished bars. You wiped prints. You tied tape. Skinkton swallows hard. Voice lowers. You can't prove I tied anything. Silence falls. Only Dolly's breathing quickens. Her face pale, eyes wide. She points at the tape in Marple's hand. The knot still firm, edges creased. Her whisper cuts the air. Then why the knot matches your hand? Murder is just habit repeated. Miss Marple takes the coil of linen tape, her fingers calm, steady. She threads it through the brass ring, then through the side of the grille. She pulls once. The tape slides smoothly. Observe, she says. It loops round the neck, flat against the skin. It tightens slowly. No cord mark. No bruise. Dolly shudders. You mean it strangles without leaving a trace? Marple nods. Flat linen spreads the pressure. It leaves nothing for a doctor to see. The victim weakens, faints, dies. It looks like natural failure. Slack shifts uncomfortably. He clears his throat. Speculation. You make fairy tales from twine. Marple keeps her eyes on the tape. She pulls again, slow, steady. The loop narrows. Not fairy tales. Habits. Someone tested this before. Someone practiced. She lets the tape fall loose. It could be tightened from outside, through the grille. A hand in the open room. The victim inside never stood a chance. Dolly covers her mouth. So Vale sat there, reading, trusting the quiet, and the tape crept tighter. Slack frowns. He would fight. He would thrash. Marple shakes her head. No. He would gasp, then weaken. Pressure robs strength before panic can rise. He slumps. Consciousness fades. Silence follows. Skinkton bursts out. Absurd. A man doesn't sit still while he's killed. Marple turns her gaze on him. Vale was frail. He trusted the room. He had no warning. By the time he realized, it was too late. Slack stares at the grille, his voice lower now. You're saying the chamber was the weapon, Marple replies. Firm. Yes. A hidden room became a trap, built with foresight, used with care, closed with polish and soap to hide the marks. She steps back. Her eyes sweep the hall. Her voice grows sharper. And the murderer stood right here. Truth crushes pride. Guy Skinkton explodes. Lies. All of it lies. His voice echoes in the hall. He points at the coil of tape. At best, a craftsman's tool, at worst, Vale's invention. He wanted to smear me. He always did. Slack steps forward. Keep your tone steady. You're not on a stage. But Skinkton ignores him. He called me a fraud, said my discoveries were planted. He knew nothing of history, nothing of skill. He wanted a scandal to sell. Dolly flinches at his fury. She whispers to Marple. He's shaking. Marple's eyes never leave him. Anger follows fear, she murmurs. Skinkton paces. His hands twitch. His voice grows harsher. You find soap on? A screw paste on a book and you call me murderer? It's madness. I built this hall back to life. Without me, it would rot. Slack cuts in. Stop circling. Answer straight. Did you polish those bars? Did you tie that tape? Skinkton stops pacing. His jaw clenches. His hands curl into fists. I deny it. Every word. Slack presses. Then explain the ledger. Explain the knot. Explain why Vale wrote your name with forgeries confirmed. Skinkton glares at him. He hated me. That's all the proof you need. His pen was sharper than any knife. He wanted me ruined. Dolly sees his fingers tremble. She swallows hard. He can't hold them still, Jane. Slack barks. Calm yourself, man. Fury won't wash the tape clean. Skington shouts back. You all want me guilty. You want the genius cut down so you can feel taller. Marple speaks at last, her voice even. Genius does not fear questions. Only fraud does. Skington jerks toward her. You dare call me fraud? You an old woman with needles? Dolly gasps. Guy! Marple remains calm, her eyes sharp as glass. Truth does not shout. It does not flail. It stands, and it crushes pride. Skington freezes. His chest heaves, his face damp with sweat. Marple steps closer, her words clear, cutting. Your hands tell more than your tongue. Your conscience tied that knot. Excuses fray like rope. Guy Skington slumps against the wall. His chest heaves. His eyes dart between Slack and Marple. Slack folds his arms. Say it. We're done with half answers. Skington's voice cracks. He mocked me. He mocked everything I built. Dolly's voice low. Crispin Vale had proof. Skington nods slowly. Yes. He kept notes. He said he'd publish. He laughed at me. He said contracts would vanish, investors would flee. My name would be filth. Slack steps closer. And he was right. That fear drove you. Skington grips his own wrists. His words spill. I tried reason. I begged him. He wouldn't stop. Every page he wrote was a knife. He wanted me ruined. And I saw no way out. Marple's eyes narrow. So you found another way. Tape and ring. Skington shudders. I tested it. In the loft. On scraps. It worked. Silent. Clean. A death that would look like chance. No marks. No fuss. Just a weak heart in a hidden room. Dolly's hands shake. You planned it all? He nods once. Every step. I waited for him to explore. I knew he would. I looped the tape through the grill. I pulled. Slow. Gentle. Until he went still. His head drops. I thought it would save me. It only finished me. Slack's voice cold. You admit it. You killed him. Skington whispers. Yes. Slack pulls the cuffs from his coat. They'll hold you better than knots. Skington doesn't resist. His wrists click shut. Slack says flatly, You'll finish in a cell. But then the twist lands. Dolly notices something in the ledger still on the table. A loose page, folded twice. Different handwriting. She pulls it out. Her face drains. Jane, look. Marple takes the page. Her brow furrows. It isn't Vale's script. The ink newer, the words chilling. Skington acts, but he is not alone. Marple's eyes lift slowly. The room falls silent. The case is not finished. Whispers spread faster than fire. News spreads by morning. Every lane carries it. Guy Skington arrested. Vale dead in Bantry's hall. At the grocer, heads shake. He was a genius, one says. He saved the house. Another spits. He was a fraud. Built lies with glue. At the inn, voices clash. Talent should not die in chains. Talent. He killed a man. Children whisper in corners. Secret rooms. Tape traps. Murder behind books. The vicar sighs at tea. Pride. Always pride. It ends the same. Dolly Bantry sits pale in her drawing room. Hands folded tight. I thought him charming, she says. Charming and clever, and all the while planning murder. Miss Marple answers softly. Deceit wears fine clothes, but its hem frays soon enough. Dolly nods, but her eyes glisten. Still, I feel a fool. He smiled at us. He took our sherry, and he killed Vale not a stone's throw away. Inspector Slack visits briefly. We've got his confession. Tape, rings, ledger, all match. The court will see it clear. Marple looks up from her knitting. Clear, perhaps, but not complete. Slack frowns. What more do you want? He admitted it. Marple taps the folded page lying on her table, the one found in the ledger, her voice measured. Skinkton confessed. But this hand is not his. Someone else knew. Someone else wrote these words. Dolly's eyes widen. You mean another? Involved? Marple does not answer. She simply folds the paper again. Evening falls. The village grows quiet, but the whispers do not stop. Dolly presses her palms together. Jane, will it ever rest? Marple's eyes soften. No. Truth never rests until it stands in full. A silence lingers, then a soft sound. Paper sliding under wood. Dolly gasps. A letter. Marple leans forward, calm but alert. Her hand hovers over the envelope. On the front, in dark ink, a line reads, For Miss Marple. Another name waits. Truth leaves echoes. Miss Marple lifts the envelope. The paper feels rough. The ink fresh. She breaks the seal. Inside, a single sheet, words written in a tight hand. Others knew. Vale was not alone. Dolly Bantry leans close. Her eyes widen. What does that mean? Others knew what? Marple studies the strokes. She frowns. This is not Skinkton's hand, nor Vale's. A third voice speaks here. Dolly whispers. You mean there's still someone else involved? Inspector Slack arrives minutes later. Marple hands him the letter. He scans quickly. His brow creases. Vale not alone. Then, what, he had a partner? Marple shakes her head. Not a partner. A witness. Or an accomplice. Fraud grows better in company. Slack groans. We have one man in custody. That's enough for the court. The rest can wait. Marple's voice firm. Truth does not wait. This line proves knowledge beyond Skinkton. Knowledge Vale shared, or knowledge stolen. Dolly stirs her tea, but doesn't drink. The spoon clinks, her voice low. I don't like it. It means the village will buzz again. Reporters, questions. They'll never leave us be. Slack shrugs. Better buzz than silence. Silence hides more bodies. Marple folds the letter again. She slips it back into the envelope, her eyes fixed on the hearth. This writer wanted me to know. They chose me, not the police. That means fear or trust. Dolly leans forward. Jane, do you think the danger's over? Marple answers quietly. Danger seldom ends while secrets remain, and secrets linger like smoke. Slack pockets the letter. I'll follow up. I'll check every supplier, every ledger. If someone helped Skinkton, I'll find them. Marple's gaze stays sharp. Not if they hide better than he did. Dolly sets her teacup down, untouched. Her hands tremble slightly. She whispers. It feels as if the walls still watch us. Marple lowers her voice. Walls only watch when people hide behind them. And here, too many have hidden. The room falls silent. The envelope rests on the table. Its message lingers. Marple's eyes close briefly. Then she opens them, steady as steel. Her words cut the quiet. Secrets breed more secrets. Hiding places are like consciences. Miss Marple folds her knitting. Her gaze lingers on the quiet room. Every thread of the case unspools in her mind. Vale, Skinkton, the ledger, the letter that spoke of more. She thinks of masks, how men wear them as easily as coats. A smile to cover deceit. A polished word to cover rot. Pride sits at the root. Vale had it in his pen. Skinkton had it in his stone. Each used it like a weapon, one with words, one with traps. Dolly Bantry paces, her face pale, her steps restless. I'll never trust so easily again, Jane. Not when men can charm one moment and strangle the next. Marple nods slowly. Trust is not the danger, Dolly. Blind Trust Island. One must look at habits, not smiles. Dolly sighs. Then I must change my habits. Marple's eyes soften. Good habits protect. Bad ones destroy. It is always so. The church bells ring faint outside. Next day the pews are full. The villagers sit in silence. Some bow their heads. Some stare ahead, lips tight. Not a word spoken, but the air is heavy with judgment. Half the faces mourn veil. Half mutter about Skinkton. None speak aloud. Whispers only. Whispers that wound without proof. Marple watches them all. Patterns repeat. She sees them in stitches, in knots, in ledgers, in people. Habits that tell more than words. Dolly leans close as they leave. Do you think it's over, Jane? Marple answers with care. One name confessed, but another still waits. The letter warned us, and warnings seldom lie. Dolly shivers. I don't want another shadow in this village. Marple's voice is gentle but firm. Shadows vanish when light stays long enough. We must wait. The truth will step forward. They return to the cottage. The kettle hisses, but Dolly doesn't touch her cup. Marple sits still, hands folded, her mind restless, though her face calm. The thought circles back again. Secrets, always secrets, and each one heavier than the last. Then 3 sharp knocks. At her door,